Welcome back, everyone, to Soundtrack Scores. We're gonna do something a little exciting today. We're gonna do kind of a roundtable discussion of our top tracks and top albums from last year. Now, these are all soundtrack albums, of course, and these can be released in 2024. They might not be.
Right. So we're doing a 2024 recap, but we're looking back to what we listened to, not necessarily what came out in 2024, which we did listen to soundtracks in 2024, so don't worry.
Yes, I listened to a lot of them at work, so honestly, a lot of mine will be kind of ones that are conducive to listen to in the background while working. That was kind of my theme of the year, I guess, was soundtracks.
Nice. Which I think it is for a lot of us. I think that's one of the things that inspired soundtrack scores in the beginning was we were looking for more soundtracks to listen to while writing or working out or whatever it was. And, you've got your oldies and goodies, which is great. And a lot of those were listened to in 2024. But it's always nice to find either ones that were released earlier and we hadn't listened to before or new ones, because there's always great music coming out of Hollywood in the indie world. So, yeah.
Absolutely. One of my albums that I listened to on repeat last year, and it was actually one of my top albums overall for the year, was the soundtrack for Fly Me to the Moon. Which was a movie that came out last year with Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. It's a fictional story set on during the space age when the first Apollo missions. It's really great to have on in the background while working. So it was on repeat at my office job and on my headphones. So that was that. Michael, what was one of your top 3 albums?
So I've got Dune Part 2 was one of my top 3 for sure. That one was really good. I was looking forward to that, the album just as much as the movie, honestly. I absolutely love the first one, and I love the companion albums that HansZimmer released after the first one as well. And so I was really excited about that one.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful score, and of course there's a ton of controversy around it right now.
Right.
Yes, it was not eligible for nomination as an album because it was not an original soundtrack, because it was the sequel. Which
has that ever happened before?
I don't know, because I feel like the Lord of the Rings soundtracks would fall into that category, right?
There's a new theme in the Lord of the Rings in each one, right? But you get the old ones. I think it has to do with a percentage of recycled themes or something like that you're using.
Which is silly to me, because you of course you're going to have a lot of the same themes.
Right.
Right.
Especially if you have less characters in, say, Lord of the Rings, or less character themes, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I've listened to a couple tracks from Dune 2, and there's some that are really, really good that I really like. So that's a good choice, Michael.
I'm going to combine. No, I can't combine, can I? So in 2024, I got back into listening to the Witcher Season 1 and Season 2 soundtracks. That's why I'm kind of trying to combine them, but then I realized they're different composers. My wife and I rewatched Season 1 of The Witcher this year. I'd forgotten just how good the music was, and there's one particular track one particular piece of music that I have been looking for, I think, since I first heard Season 1 and the soundtrack, and could not, for the life of me, find out where it was in the album until this rewatch. And there's a beautiful motif in the album with the Golden Dragon, if you know what I'm talking, or in the episode with the Golden Dragon, that is not in the piece of music that sounds like it's from that episode. It's from much earlier in the album, and it's a piece called "The Knight Who Was Taught to Save Dragons," I believe.
Okay, so you did end up finding that.
I did end up finding the motif, and it's there. So that one was on repeat for a while. It was a fun one.
All right, moving on to the second of my top 3 albums, again, in no particular order. The second one is an interesting one for me, because I never watched the movie. It is a movie that actually, I do believe, did not do very well. I remember seeing a trailer for it because I feel like it was trying to bring back the kind of young adult dystopian genre. It's a book. The movie's called Uglies. Again, I've never seen it, never read the book.
I saw the trailer for that, yeah.
I like the soundtrack because I'm a sucker for a lot of electronic soundtracks, especially when I'm working. So I did have that one on quite a lot last year. This is a movie that came out last year, by the way, in 2024. So yeah, it's a lot of electronic music and a good soundtrack, I must say. I cannot vouch for the movie. I've not seen it, but I do know it did not do as well. But anyway, Uglies. That was my second album.
Who composed that one? And I mean, I don't even think that one made it into our group chat. So
no,
you'll have to share some.
Yeah, no.
Edward Shearmur, Shearmur. I forgot to mention that "Fly Me to the Moon" was composed by Daniel Pemberton, who also did Spider-Verse. So he's a good composer. So
and King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, which was a good soundtrack.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah,
so
great.
that was the second of my top 3 soundtracks of last year. Michael, what about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Fallout.
Oh,
that one was
yeah, that was a good one. That was one of the last videos we published looking through our channel. We did Fallout in April or so.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that one was a good one. It felt very... Well, I was really impressed with how Djawadi maintained the sonic identity of the games while still doing something fresh. I thought that was really well done.
That's just a very solid soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The the mechanical
Brotherhood of Steel.
The Brotherhood of Steel, yeah. Their themes was it was so visceral. It was awesome.
I can't tell you how many times I've listened to that theme.
Just that theme.
The first track on the album is very good.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So
excellent
good.
choices, Michael.
Do we have another season of that coming out in 2025?
Yes. It was actually, they were in the middle of filming. It did have to be postponed because of the LA fires.
Oof.
But they were filming it.
Gosh, yeah.
Robert.
Second one was actually a recommendation from one of our commenters, one of our subscribers on our YouTube channel earlier in the year for a video game I have not played called Hollow Knight. Yeah, I think we were listening to that towards the beginning of the year. It's beautiful, like solo piano with minimal strings, kind of through it with some great themes. Great work music, honestly. Just good ambient, beautiful, relaxing background music. Yeah, Hollow Knight was a great track all the way, a great album all the way through.
I do remember you sharing that with us in the group chat, and I did listen to that, and I do remember liking that one.
Yep, that was a great one. So thank you for the recommendation. Keep them coming.
All right, to finish it off on my top 3, The Nice Guys. A movie with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yes.
It's a fun movie. The soundtrack is by John Ottman and David Buckley. But this is like kind of a
David
jazzy...
Buckley did the Arkham games.
Did he? Okay. Yeah, I've heard a few of those soundtracks.
He was one of the composers on there, but yeah.
Yes. So, The Nice Guys, it's kind of like a detective, jazzy kind of soundtrack. So, again... great for my work background music. So yeah, that would be my third one is The Nice Guys.
Nice.
Did not mean
That's actually a movie I have had on my list to watch for a long time. I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's deserving of a sequel, but I think that's gonna happen. Yeah, their dynamic is great. Michael, how's your third album?
So. After Robert was saying I can't really combine, I'm like, dang it.
You can combine. It's okay if the IP is the same.
We bend the rules.
This is our world.
We make our own rules. Yeah. So I watched all of the Harry Potter movies for the first time last year. Well, the first one was I think the first couple I saw December the year before. And I was
technicality.
Very disciplined about only listening to the soundtrack of each one after I watched the movie. And it took me the whole year to watch the movies because I was, after movie 3, I decided to catch up on the books and read each book before
Wow.
I watched that movie. So I did that, and that was the wildest experience. I finished book 4 one morning and watched the movie that night. That was wild.
I bet. So cool though.
Yeah.
I have to say, an insane and interesting, like, it's a scenario that takes a lot of discipline. I feel like more than you'd think, probably, to hold on each one.
Yep.
Yeah, props to you. I watched all the movies, and I think in 2023 for the first time, and did not read the books. I'm going to plow through the movies.
I'm also a late bloomer. I literally just watched the first movie for the first time the other night. So
oh my gosh. Well, when we do our 2025 recap, Steven can talk about them.
And
but
I will wait until then to give my top 3 tracks, because they do have spoilers. The track names.
Tough. So but what was your favorite score from the 7?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good question. Honestly, so it's funny because some tracks, well, hands down, okay, well, let me talk about the first score, because that I think is
John
as
Williams.
a whole, my favorite. Yep.
I feel like that's kind of the quintessential kind of score too.
Exactly, but also like Hedwig's theme. That's probably hands down my favorite track. I mean, that's iconic.
Why is it called Hedwig's theme? Isn't Hedwig the owl?
I believe so. Yeah.
Why does he have his own theme? And why is it the main theme that we all know? Somebody's going to roast me on YouTube, Williams. And I hope so. I hope they explain why. I know there's a reason, but I watched all the movies and I've heard the music, and I don't know why that theme is called Hedwig's theme. Anyway,
I was wondering that.
That's an aside.
Movie,
Go ahead, Michael.
That is my top track of all of the soundtracks. But then my other top tracks, I'm not going to say the names because they spoil some stuff, but they're in the later soundtracks. But again, as a whole, I like the soundtrack for the first movie the best.
Okay.
Because that was, did John Williams do multiple, or was it just the first one?
Oh, John Williams was involved in the first 3.
Okay. Which is interesting because I've also noticed that the first 2 have a different director, and then the last 4 have the same director. Like, then the other ones just have each one is different.
Yes, and that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
that I have feelings about. Yeah.
But the tone really changes when Alexandre Desplat took over, right? Like, it was a much more, didn't the third one, which was a much more serious film? Or did John Williams do the third? It was still John Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
The third one was one of my favorites just because of the way it was filmed. I really enjoyed it.
The interesting, I mean, because both the books and the movies do too, like the target audience kind of gets older, you know?
Yep.
And so, of course, the music, I feel, reflects that too. Like the earlier themes is more whimsical style fantasy, as you kind of feel more dark fantasy style of soundtrack as it goes on.
Yeah, I'm sure it was super cool to have been around 11 years old when the first book came out and kind of grew up with the stories.
Yeah.
Grew up with Harry. I've heard. Yeah.
I think my closest thing to that is probably watching like Pixar movies as a kid, and then they kind of get sequels. But anyway. Robert, what was your third album?
Third one was a recent one. Yeah, no, shout out to my friend Jillian for recommending the Nosferatu soundtrack.
Oh, was that a good one?
It is. It's obviously very dark in moments, but the composer is someone I have not heard before. He did The Northman, so he's done a couple of Eggers films now. Robin Carolyn, if I'm saying it right. But there's a particular 2 tracks at the end that are just phenomenal. Probably like more unique and more beautiful than anything I've heard all year. So one of those is what I'm going to share with y'all.
Sweet. Tidbit about the music of Nosferatu. There is a 80s song that was originally from the play. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, I know that song very well. I grew up on that song.
It was written for a Nosferatu musical.
You're kidding.
It was originally titled, apparently it's titled Vampires in Love, and it was going to be a song in a Nosferatu musical.
Totally.
Interesting.
That's Bonnie Tyler, right?
Yep.
Wow.
like very
But
well-known
it
song.
did not end up in the musical, or the musical didn't happen.
No,
it sounds
apparently
like
it was a German version that did. Here, I'm gonna go.
That's super cool. So that one is a pretty good soundtrack all the way through. Obviously, a few dark moments, some anxiety-inducing tracks, as there should be. But the ending is pretty gorgeous and intense. You'll see. So that was my third one for 2024.
Okay, so do we want to move on to top tracks?
Sure. Any honorable mentions first? Because I have a couple honorable mentions I want to shout out.
Ooh.
I have a couple, but they're not from 2024. But I did listen to them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine.
Well, okay. One is the soundtrack for season 1 of *Halt and Catch Fire*. That's that other electronic one.
Cool.
That was a good one in the background. And my other honorable mention would be it is a album called Mad Men After Hours. So it takes themes from the show Mad Men, and it's more jazzy. So it's like So that was another one that was on repeat while working. So
nice.
That would have been that would have been one of my honorable mentions. I think I have another one, but yeah, that one was a good one. I listened to that one a lot as well.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What else have you got, Michael? You can just name all your honorable mentions. If you had another track or album. For me, there's one track and then like an album. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Come back to me because I'm trying to remember. I had something.
Sure.
Okay.
I had I really loved the credit roll from War of the Rohirrim that we all listened to. Paris Paloma's song "The Rider." So that one has to get a shout out on here. I know we did a video. Unfortunately, the rest of that album ended up being less than I hoped it would be. But yeah, that track was incredible. And then one that's not really a soundtrack, but we did a video on also, and that I had on repeat in the background while working a lot, was Nightwish's instrumental Yesterwind.
Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, the non-instrumental part of that is phenomenal, but from a soundtrack perspective, and because they're writing from a story perspective, I kind of count the instrumental, the orchestral pieces. Beautiful and great to have in the background while you're writing or working.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was actually I was gonna say the Rider as well from the War of the Rohirrim soundtrack.
When the last line is broken, when the day is all but done.
That would be one of my own honorable mentions, and also House of the Dragon season 2. I definitely. Yeah, season 1, the soundtrack for season 1 has more like standout tracks. And so, but as a whole, season 2, it feels more like ambient, but I have to listen to the whole thing like straight through then the first one just to really get a more, better assessment, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, that's one I need to go back and listen to more because I enjoyed season 1 a lot.
Yeah.
All right, should we jump in?
Yeah. The track is called Prologue, and in parentheses, The National Goal. It is the first track in the album. And it's
okay.
I chose this one because I think it kind of gives you a feel for how the score is, kind of sonically.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. In 3, 2, 1.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Gosh, these motifs are gorgeous.
And fun.
Yeah, it's a very fun one.
Yeah.
I could run to this, honestly.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite, just kind of easy listening
Yeah.
work. It gets you in the kind of groove.
Beautiful. Wow.
That's gorgeous.
Of the brass.
Yeah.
Apologies
Yeah.
for the mic
Good
bang.
pick, Steven. Good
Yeah,
pick.
great pick. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack I discovered before watching the movie, and I was like, I like this.
Steven, how was the movie?
I enjoyed the movie a lot. It's you know, it's a very fun movie. It's kind of a feel good movie.
Yeah, I'll have to
That's
check it
kind
out.
of the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
Paula's
you get
been
a
wanting to
chance,
watch it, so we'll have to.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
Good.
All right, Michael, you said you had Dune.
Yeah. So this morning I listened to all my favorite tracks from this album. I've heard this album so many times, so immediately I was like, "Oh, this one, this one, this one." So I listened to them all, and I landed on one I did not expect to land on as the one I wanted to share with you guys, because I love Worm Ride. That one's a great one, but this one is almost like more on the low key good one side of things. You know, it's like it's called "Kiss the Ring." All right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
I love the sand sound.
Yes.
Yep.
Some vocals maybe in the background. Oh, I have heard this motif.
Oh
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. I think this is
Beautiful.
more unique to Dune Part 2.
Is this the romance motif?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was definitely not in Dune Part 1.
Yeah. I enjoyed part 2 more than part 1.
Oscars. Just say that, Oscars. It's not in Dune Part 1.
Deserving of its own Oscar.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful theme.
Yep.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh. I don't think I've actually heard this specific track. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Bells. I did not expect bells. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow.
Great.
Wow. Hans was feeling it for this one.
Yeah.
Whew.
That was a good one.
Right.
Good
Right.
pick too. Because I think it was
Thank you.
that theme was in a time of quiet between the storms. I think it was
Similar,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, or similar.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't have all the epic kind of crescendo at the end. That was really
Yeah,
cool.
it just kept getting more and more epic. Like there was a moment there that I was like, this reminds me of Hans Zimmer's Lion King score. And then it went more epic, and I was like, but way bigger and better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you,
pick,
Michael.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. All right, we got 15 minutes left on the call, so I have to jump into my 8-minute score.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
All right.
Nosferatu, Daybreak is the name of the track. So, as you guys know, Nosferatu is essentially a retelling of the Dracula story,
Yes.
but it's a remake of the 1922 film, which they called Nosferatu because of copyright issues. They couldn't call it Dracula because Dracula was still under copyright because it's that old.
Huh.
So it's Dracula, but instead of Dracula,
Got
it's
it.
called
Okay.
Nosferatu. So Nosferatu Daybreak
it.
is the name of the track. 8 minutes long from Robin Carolyn. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
You get your requisite darkness.
I like the strings, kind of the deep strings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if they're cellos or not.
It may even be a bass.
Yeah.
Yep. So like I said, the score has some anxiety-inducing moments with beauty mixed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good build.
The reason I love this track are the builds, you'll see.
Okay.
Which I know we're all big fans of extended builds.
Oh yeah.
The way they're playing these violins almost has like a whistle tone to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this would be cool to see in concert, like an orchestra.
Yeah.
Oh. Like that.
Yeah, me too.
I've got the strings doing almost like steps in the background, also the bass line, which is kind of cool.
It feels like expansive. That's what feel it kind of gives
Yeah.
to it, for me at least.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very melancholic, which I enjoy.
It's almost kind of tragic.
Yes,
Yeah.
and fittingly so. That violin is like a soul screaming from the depths.
Yeah.
Light of the Seven, anyone?
I was literally just thinking, like, man, this is up there with that.
And it's not over yet.
I know. I'm like, we got a few more minutes left.
I'm a huge fan of the bells.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Obviously, being set in like a European village.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, The Northman was this composer's debut as a composer.
Wow.
Like a film composer.
He was an electronic composer beforehand, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Dang.
That is cool.
Got like that cacophony of strings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. It's still got a minute, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left. The alternating of the bells with that really heavy drum.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very grounded and like very mortal sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate how they left this full track in the soundtrack. I always appreciate when soundtracks do that. You know, these ones that are a slow build, they very could well chop up, you know,
Yes.
for the sake of the soundtrack.
Agreed. And it kind of ends in a little more muted fashion.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I have to say though, it wasn't as like dark or eerie as I expected.
Yeah,
I
it's
kinda
rather
expected
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a tragic beauty as opposed to like unsettling, I think.
Yes. And the soundtrack
Yeah.
in general is like that. It's worth listening to the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
Harp.
Ooh.
Whoa, yeah, I was gonna say. That just feels sad,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
like mourning.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of. There's another soundtrack that does that, where at the end it plays the theme like sad on the harp.
The
I want to say like
the-
Davy
the-
Jones or something.
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit of Javity, a
So-
little bit of Davy Jones.
the way that track built and some of the instruments remind me of another soundtrack or / particular track I want to show you guys. We can do it another time, but
Yes,
Okay.
please.
it's really, really good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Robert and Michael for sharing your top albums of 2024 and top tracks.
Mhm.
That
And
was
Steven.
a treat.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thanks again for joining us, everyone, and be sure to subscribe and keep an eye out for our next one.
See you later.